Right, welcome to the fifth podcast. We're trying something a little bit different this time. Doing a one-on-one podcast or a 1v1. Me and Poke are going to fight it out to the death. I'd forgotten. I couldn't really think of many more topics for the general ones as groups, so I decided to change it up a bit. Might create some more interesting topics that aren't just the same things over and over and over repeated. So today I have brought Poke with me by his ear. He didn't want to do this, but he is.
Wait, what? But I did want to do this.
No, he didn't.
Yes, I did.
I got him to send me a few bits and bobs because I haven't actually. Obviously, Poke and me started row racing in different segments. I went straight into the open wheel segment with the original RRC and going into HRO captains leagues, and then that transitioned to the main open wheel OHR, FS, all that a lot. Whereas Poke started off in Row NASCAR, which people have their own opinions on. Obviously, you have people like Phil and XQ and G-Man. I think G-Man did Row NASCAR. Two G-Mans. But the G-Man we know, the 669421 or whatever the fuck, they're just numbers. So it's kind of like I don't know much about Poke from that period, and that's what's kind of curious. So I guess the first question to ask you, Poke, is how you found yourself in row racing. Obviously, you say that you kind of just went onto Roblox and then played around with it. But how did you find yourself in row racing? How did you get an offer, for example?
Basically, I just kind of searched around Roblox just to find some random public racing games, and that's just kind of where it all started. It just kind of kicked off my interest with racing on Roblox in general.
Any
And,
particular games in particular, or any people in
uh,
particular?
Josh Rock's True Free Fours NASCAR 2017 or 2016, I can't remember the exact year it was at the time, but it was mainly that game. And oh hey, some random guy found me on that public game, and we just kind of talked on Roblox and stuff, since this was before it was on Discord and stuff.
Yeah.
And then just randomly one day, I stumbled upon some random game that appeared in my friend activity, and it was a league, so I decided to spectate it, and that just kind of kicked off my interest with fair racing.
Fair enough. So it seems like a lot of people find row racing through public games. I know a couple of the RRC guys found RRC or like I don't know about FS, but
I know
particularly
Sam
RRC.
really got signed because of a public game
Yeah.
for a league.
Um, a couple of people found RRC through the Hangout, the OHR Hangout.
Yeah, I also played the OHR Hangout a while back in the day.
I I didn't find row racing through the Hangout, but I think TTTU for OHR found me
Is
through
that
the Hangout.
Kama?
Yeah, that's
I
Kama.
can't remember.
He found me through the Hangout, if I recall correctly. And I think I sort of found OHR through that a little bit, although by that point I was a little bit more well known. I'd done a couple of leagues. The next sort of stage, I guess, is how you found NASCAR as a whole and how that all transitioned from the start of finding it into, I guess, the mid stage of racing for you.
Well, the first league I ever did was our NASCAR league, so. And then I just kind of stuck with it since I knew, oh hey, I had decent pace with this, why should I stop it? I knew that there was a lot of just kind of self-hatred in the community. Most of the people in the NASCAR community just didn't like it, and they would just constantly insult it, which didn't really make sense. Why would you do it if you just would repeatedly insult it and say, Roblox is stupid, and all they do is break stuff? So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I
not a
just
fan of
kind
that
of,
attitude.
after a while, got fed up with the toxicity, and I knew, oh hey, open wheel leagues that are European based exist.
See,
So,
I try not to slag off Roblox too much. Obviously, if they do something really stupid, then yeah. But I do find the whole attitude of just Roblox is bad, Roblox is bad, Roblox is bad really crappy, especially if you utilize the platform a lot. If you're using the platform, you clearly like it in some way, so why criticize it? Sure, you need to criticize things to get better, but don't just outright call it shit, call it crap. Actually suggest what can be improved. Because frankly, if you're just calling the game shit, why are you on it? You must find
and that's
something
just
out
kind of
of
what
it.
I got fed up with.
I mean, I've been in the Row NASCAR community a little bit. not loads, but I dabbled with it around sort of mid-late 2017, early 2018. I did RA for a while. I did I did season 10 of RA. Finished fifth in the points. I did half the races. I did 9 out of 20 races. I know it was at least 20. Came fifth in the standings. I won the last 4 or 5 races I did, and that was good fun. The community was okay, but then once I got to drive to Hunger a little bit, I think that was like 2 or 3 months after. Ra had given up on Roblox and gone to solely R Factor. Um, it was kind of like the community that everyone describes, and just everyone's angry at each other. There's never a moment where people are actually act calm with each other. There's always people going, "Oh, you did this, you did that, you wiped me out, you asshole, you cunt," and it was really crappy. And it didn't help myself that I was kind of part of that problem as well because I didn't enjoy it. So I was also being a little toxic myself. So it kind of the whole problem just like manifests in itself. And yeah, I'm sure there are some people who do properly find some enjoyment out of Road NASCAR. But my experience, and I know a lot of other people's experiences, it isn't great at the
I
moment. And
mean, I did enjoy the racing. However, I felt like there was just a shift in the community from no collide slash partial collide racing on bigger tracks, which was often, well, I wouldn't call it clean. However, people had better racecraft. And then I just felt like there was more of a shift in the community towards like HM style leagues, if that makes sense. Because suddenly people were switching this normal style of can collide racing, which was partial collide, etc., to just crash walls, full collide, yeah, people heading off each other in every single corner. And I just got fed up with it because I don't like that style of racing. I'm considered one of the cleaner guys, however, I would often be really aggressive when it comes to racing, however, I wouldn't wipe anyone clear out. However, with that, if you wanted to win, you would have to do that. And I just got fed up with it, because I could be racing cleanly and then someone could straight line a corner and then go on to win the race.
I
Which
find that
I
now
just enjoy.
when I look, I go because I like to watch. I like to watch random leagues, not for any particular reason. Just I like something to do, and I like watching races. So I go along to random leagues, whether they're good or crap or whatever, just to watch. And I've gone to along to a few NASCAR leagues of varying ownership and whatnot. Obviously we know Rob and Reich's meme around and whatever that one is. I can't remember what it is, but the one that did Le Mans, the Bugatti circuit, leagues
Oh
like that,
yeah,
leagues like that,
World
and
Truck Racing
a
Series.
few others. And I noticed a trend of they all use the same old, outdated, like 2013 vehicle and the same poor, low quality, outdated tracks, and there's no new
Well,
things.
most of the current NASCAR tracks that everyone uses are just literally leaks from KRA,
Yeah,
and that's basically
they're all
all it
the
is.
same recycled leagues, just leeching off of old models. There's nothing new, there's nothing interesting being injected, and I think that's part of the problem is that.
Ba- Basically, how I could just basically describe my experience from Road NASCAR is racing in a bunch of M1RA clones into racing in a bunch of HM clones. I'm not sure if you know what
I,
M1RA
I
is.
know it, I know it. Mostly just because of people like Felix. I know M1RA. I don't know it very well, but I've heard of it and sort of know of its presence. But, yeah, I mean, whereas I know real racing in general isn't a fast developing community because a lot of people are stuck in their ways and there's resistance to change. But NASCAR is even slower. I don't like. I've went to HM races and I was commenting like these are so old, and then but it seemed when people comment it seems so natural, which it shouldn't be. Things should look time period. That they're from this year. It is. I hope it improves because I don't wish bad upon the community, but
I
it's
think the
certainly.
whole thing with HM is the fact that it is outdated is why it is so popular.
Yeah, I mean, I hold with RRC the policy of trying to keep it fairly simple and true to air quotes road racing's roots, but I still do see a need for implementing a few things here and there. The push to pass system, the standings GUIs and whatnot. sometimes it requires a bit of pushing from other people, whether it be Panda or Tom or whatever. But I do sometimes see, I see sense and see a need to change. But NASCAR seem so resistant that not even a push would make them change. It sucks, but hey, maybe it'll improve soon. And that, I guess, will bring us on to now. You're in open wheel now. How do you find the change between the two? Not just in community, but just in general, the racing, the enjoyment, everything.
Kind of jarring at first, however, I got used to it after a while. Something I'm kind of easily able to do is just look at a community and just kind of understand it for the most part. And yeah, so like the style of racing is completely different with the way the cars are. Road NASCAR cars, they basically have infinite grip. You can basically take every corner flat, and it doesn't require much skill unless they implement something that does require skill. Like Drive Down Hunger uses G chassis, which you can't take every corner flat out. However, people still do it because why not?
I mean, G
But yeah,
chassis is G chassis is quite interesting. I don't think it's particularly good at the moment. There's certainly potential there, but I mean, bugs
it
such as
drives good. It's just there are so many bugs and glitches, etc.
the fact that I know, particularly with Sam, that if there are too many people in the server, it begins to break and not work properly. And yeah, but it certainly has potential, and I guess that is one part of NASCAR or the road NASCAR community that could improve over time if they begin maybe utilizing that a bit more, and that improves. But I mean, yeah, I find this open wheels a bit more tolerant in a way. I think I guess in a way the open wheel community being a little bit smaller, or from what I see, is a little bit better.
It isn't smaller. It's just kind of the difference in nationality. Most of you are European, and most people in NASCAR are American.
But I think the next question to ask you is, did you or do you prefer sort of now that you've had a comparison between the two, like going into this side and maybe being a little less successful overall, or did you actually prefer winning elsewhere?
I mean, I like winning. Who doesn't? I'm a competitive person. However, I still find the racing fun, even if I can't really get results constantly. Battling is extremely fun in no because everyone is just trying to find a way to get around a person faster. It's based off of pace and not random luck if you're going to get fucked over in the middle of a corner because someone doesn't know what line you're holding, etc. Like, some of the battles I've had in RRC have been great, some of the battles in IRL and FS have been great, etc. I just enjoy the racing more, even if that means sacrificing some results. And everyone is chill about it as well. It's not, oh, you overtake me, you deserve to kill yourself! Exclamation point, 1 exclamation point.
I think that does depend on the person. Some people are going to be a lot more tolerant of losing position than others. I know a
Yeah.
fair share of people who will get really pissy. But yeah, I think that's generally a lot
I
less.
remember one time where it was at a road course. I went cleanly around the outside of a person, and then straight into the next corner. They literally just completely punt me into the crash wall, and my car explodes, and I DNF the race while
Oh
I'm doing
shit. Literal detonation.
it. Yeah.
So,
I kind of look back at moments like that, and I'm like, yeah, that was kind of stupid, but at least I got a good laugh out of it.
yeah, explosions are funny. So you got your first and I think currently technically only, unless the GMS season is finished, I think it has actually, hasn't it? So I guess your first out of two titles over in NASCAR. Talk us through that, and was it a particularly easy title for you, or obviously it was in
What,
NASCAR?
GLMS? Or
Um,
NASCAR?
your NASCAR title over in
Well, the first one, the league shut down 5 races in, and I won 3 out of 5 races, so
was that an official title?
yeah,
Like you were
I got
crowned by
quite
the owner?
yes.
Fair enough. Yeah. I
What
guess
this?
what's the what do you find? Is there anything different about being at say a back marker in NASCAR to being at the front regularly?
Yes. It's called You Don't Get Brutally Insulted by Every Single Person in the Discord.
Oof. Short and sweet, I guess. That works.
But yeah, like, I've seen backmarkers that can race cleanly, however, it just tends to happen that they just get slammed off most of the time.
Now, you joined the, I don't know whether you want to call it the open wheel side or the more European side of road racing.
It's up to you, really. They basically are synonymous.
Yeah,
I,
you
I
joined
can't
that
speak.
with the what is now called GLMS, what was originally Lackeys and Lackeys, Lackeys, Lackeys.
Just call it GLMSV1, there you go.
Lurk. What was originally Lurk. Now the thing I'm curious about, not so much the fact that you're in the league, but how much has the series changed over the course of when you began in it to now? Obviously, it was called something different there, so
Loads.
this was
It's
a little
changed
while back.
loads. I'm pretty sure the start of season 1 was before the No Collide strip existed, which was like, what, early 2018? Something around there. So yeah, racing was clean in class, however, I often got punted off, which cost me a lot of wins.
Yeah, the collision
However,
script was 2017.
well, yeah, but it wasn't free at the time, I think. Or whatever.
It was. It was made
Maybe
free
Alex.
it was
Well, then I guess Alex continued to
it
be
was used so what
important.
it was used for a bit of OHR season 4, a little bit, so that was like mid that was sort of like April-ish of 2017. Season 5 it was used mostly, but it did break. Season 6 was the first season it properly worked. That was like mid to end of 2017. No, was it like no,
Well, then I guess Alex
it was
just
like
literally chose not to run the No Collide script.
it was like actually no, I can't remember now. I'm getting all the dates modelled up. I think it was like end of Q3, start of Q4 2017 to start of end of Q1, start of Q2 2018 for season 6. So that's when it
The
was reliable.
in-class, well, the in-class racing for JLMS V1 was it was all right. However, again, there was no VC spotting, so people just kind of had to spot themselves,
I mean,
which
it can
didn't end
work.
terribly. However, bluing for front runners or backmarkers, it was impossible. They just wouldn't listen. They would just take up the middle of the road, and I often got completely screwed over by them.
I mean, well, was Lurk like proper in its blues and the fact that they were just notifications that a car was coming through, or did they actually have to physically jump out of your way, or you jump out of
Well,
their way even because you were the
depends on
GT3?
how close you were to the car, and depends on how close the. It depends on the gap of like SPS per class.
Because surely, because you're a GT3, because
Yeah, I was
just
GT3 at the
reading
time.
through here, you're a GT3 and you won the title.
Yeah.
Like a competition, but it's a title. At the end of the day, if you're winning races and turning up to races, then you deserve that as much as anyone
I mean,
else.
I was slow as crap back then with the cars, but yeah.
You turned up, that's enough. It doesn't matter. In my opinion, a title's a title. It's yes, they'll be valued differently, but it's still a title. Um, but was the speed difference not big? Because GT3 compared to, I guess, prototype. I don't know what prototype.
P1.
P1. That's
Pretty
got to
sure
be a
it was
massive
215
difference.
versus 245, however, the protos were pretty fast that season.
Okay, so that's got to surely be enough SPS to allow them just to overtake you without
Because that was
full
like
blues.
pre-physics change, so Legacy Solo Torque could work properly.
Wait, so in well, no, this was Lurk. There were no physics changes for Lurk, were there?
Yeah, exactly, so low torque cars would work
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. So I'm just not sure whether you actually because you wouldn't need to blue if you were just allowed if they just had to pass you like it is in real life. But then again,
Yeah. However,
they're
the silver class, which was GTI, they were impossible to get out of the way because they would often just be in one cluster in the track, and then
oh
good luck getting
they still had
out of the way.
GTI then.
Yeah, it's been going since first season of GLMS.
How do you find GLMS? Because personally, I think it has way too many classes, and obviously it has been narrowed down for the new season coming up. Um, there are other things wrong with it at the moment, in my opinion. But did you personally find the amount of classes too many?
I thought that, yeah, I did when they added P2. However, at the time when it was just P1, GT3, which became GT2, and GTI, it was fine. However, there was some instances where the attendance was just god awful. I remember last season, as in before season 3, I think it is right now. At Ottawa, not Ottawa, it's some random Canadian track. I forget what province it was. However, I was the only P1. There were two GT2s and one GTI, and that was the race. I gave up on the race, so GT2 actually won overall.
Nice. So I guess no prototypes showed up, or at least they didn't do very well.
I was the only proto, and I retired
Oh,
because the attendance was just that bad, and I'm not gonna endlessly hot lap for like an hour.
no, that's fair enough. I mean, you could have done just enough to get ahead of them, I guess, if you could.
I'm
So,
gonna lap them like 10 times because the track was just tiny.
so during Lurk, you did continue the Ronaldscar for a little bit. When did you
Yeah,
finally pack that in and decide that it wasn't worth it?
early this year. I
Early.
basically just gave up with the community in its entirety. It just became so toxic. There was this massive NASCAR league I was in at the time, and I was retired from it because the racing was just no. And not even joking when I said this. There were about 3 fights going on in 3 different channels every hour of the Discord.
Need a Fight Club channel. Send them all there, they can have their fight. And everyone can spectate, get their popcorn, and watch.
Yes,
The equivalent of our gulags, except for more fun.
gulags, except their people
I,
aren't
th-
fighting for an unmute, just
I think
people existing.
FS, or I know one Discord I was slash am in, had a boxing ring. It might have actually have been it was, I think so, it was something Jam was involved in. I know that, and there was literally a boxing ring, and if a couple of people were having an argument, they would just throw them in there, so people could just watch these couple of idiots just having a massive rant at each other, whatever, and they couldn't talk anywhere else, so they had to talk in there. So it just turned into basically everyone watching a couple of chickens fight. It was beautiful. It was fucking beautiful. And that's what every league needs to do. That just watch chickens fight.
Yes, that
Except
would
from,
be
and then
amazing.
you can put it in the oven and eat it. Very tasty fighting. So I'm saying so a lot. So. If you could particularly change anything about what you've done in row racing, would you? Do you think? Whether it be spending less time in a NASCAR or changing your approach to how you entered into row racing or that sort of thing, would you change anything?
Probably the time I spent in NASCAR. I feel like I should have left it sooner.
Do you think that would have benefited you in terms of performances or in terms of actually what leagues you'd have stumbled across?
Probably performance, since I'm still relatively new to racing in this side of the community. And if I went from row NASCAR cars to these, I would probably be faster in row NASCAR cars because I've just been in there longer. I know how to drive those cars better personally. Of course, I like the way the cars drive over here more because they're actually fun to drive. You actually need to try driving them, etc. But still.
Um, I've got to think of something. I'm just having a look through your little history thing. Um, I guess what can you say now about the open wheel racing that you've done? Um, in terms of not necessarily GLMS, but RRC, and obviously you've done a couple races now here. You've participated in FOAM. I think we've obviously done a couple of things here and there. Um, what have you found the most enjoyable out of everything so far?
Is in league-wise?
Yeah,
Oh, WTSI, definitely. The racing WTSI is awesome, and I love it. The cars just fit me and my driving style, and I just enjoy the league as a whole. I find it fun.
yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I mean,
The only thing with WTSI is the organization, but that's just kind of been a problem.
yeah, I mean, I get pretty similar to me. WTSI is really, really fun. The cars that we're running now and we're running in season 2 were perfect for me. They hooked up with me completely. Um, Definitely one of my favorite cars in row racing. In terms of Sam, yeah, organization was always a problem. That's a well-known fact. Obviously, he's got a broken computer now, so it's me, Rabbit, and Rikes holding station for now and sorting things out. So it'll be a bit better for a while until Sam comes back, hopefully. But I mean, it just
Hopefully
take
sooner than later.
it just takes a bit of poking Sam, making sure he does things, making sure he checks things and actually gets things done and doesn't piss too many people off. Um, a lot of things I don't think were necessarily Sam's fault, whether it was just track quality or season 1 the cars were piss poor. I think Venturian shut his eyes when he was building the cars. Because
Wasn't it Rob who built the cars, or
was
was
it
it
Rob?
Ventura?
It was either Rob or Venturian, I don't know.
Let's go check in the
Whoever
announcement channel by scrolling that.
whoever built them, they closed their eyes clearly because they looked like anteaters, and they weren't particularly fun. For season 3, it was the cars were gonna originally be by JP, but there were so many teething troubles with getting them set up and getting them working that I just said to Sam to use the season 2 cars because they worked so well. There was no point in changing when these were going to cause so much trouble, which he did. And yeah, it's really, really good fun. Hopefully it continues. We don't really know its future past this season because obviously I don't want to. I mean, I'm not doing much with it as it is. I'm just sort of offering my
Yeah,
advice.
Rob was the one who made the cars.
Right. Okay. Um, I'm just helping give a bit of advice here and there and assisting where I need to. It's mostly Rabbit and Rikes doing the work. Um, and past that, I don't think Rikes wants. He's happy to run it for this season, but I don't think he wants to
I mean,
permanently
he's
run.
already busy enough with IRL and stuff.
Yeah. I don't think he wants to permanently run 2 leagues. You can temporarily run 2 leagues. I mean, I help out quite a lot everywhere, but certainly I
You
don't think.
basically are just kind of an admin in the rail racing community if you're not racing.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Um, what do you see your future being for racing, here in this
Probably
community?
just continuing racing as normal.
So no,
I'd want to try and start a league eventually. I already run technically what is my league, although it's a division in the league owned by my friend. So,
friends,
hello.
football friend. You won't get that reference. British people will.
Oh, okay.
So again, another sort of like looking back kind of question. If you looked at yourself when you started versus now, what would you say is the biggest thing that has changed with you or how you drive or
Probably just my personality.
just your
Just
person?
kind of learn to be chill most of the time and not get angry at people. Just kind of avoid the toxicity and just try and be one of the sensible people. That's basically it.
Do you see yourself being in this community for a lot longer?
Probably, yeah.
So like
Mm, really
I've been
enjoy
in the
it.
community myself for 3 years. In terms of racing, I'm getting to a stage now where I feel like I might need to stop and take a break. But in terms of actually being in the community, it's one of those things that I kind of feel like I'm going to be here forever. I'm going to be in my 50s. I'm going to still be here, kind of thing. I won't,
Robots would
obviously.
be shut down in your 50s.
I don't think so. I reckon.
Oh,
I mean, we don't with how off topic, but with how everything is right now, we don't really know how the future of like digital companies looks. How they will progress. I mean, you look at companies that started in the 20s; they're still going in 2019. Why would it be any difference for Roblox and I mean, their product is Roblox. That's like that's all they do. Why would that be any different?
Probably
If it
can't.
rakes in the millions and millions of pounds or dollars, then why stop running it? Why discontinue it?
Fair enough.
It is one of those things that, I mean, it won't go on forever, no, but I don't see a reason why it would end until they don't make money on it. Basically, that's when they would stop doing it. Um, I guess is that? Can you think of anything else you would like to say? Or are we
I
going
can
to?
just kind of say how I got over to this community.
Sure, go for it. I'm just sort of I've run out of my topics, so I guess
You've
over to you.
probably you've probably heard this one million times. However, basically, XQ, he was just kind of a person. He knew me from Rare NASCAR, and I thought, oh hey, he's a nice person, and he showed me a lot of stuff in Roblox, and he also was the guy who got me into sports car racing. So yeah, I thank him for that. However, he just one day he just started DMing me, "Hey, join RSA," like how he does now, saying, "Hey, go do sim racing." And it's just like, no, I don't want to. What even is RC? And he says, Epic Open Wheel League. And basically, I just kind of went with his festering, and then I just eventually joined the RRC Discord. And that's just kind of how I got over here. I joined my first league, which was F said, and I did absolutely terribly. I was about 3 seconds off the pace at every single track in a junior formula, so that was great. I just didn't like the cars. It's way jarring to get used to compared to road NASCAR cars. And then, yeah. So after that, I just kind of joined leagues, and then I started doing decently. Obviously, I don't do as well as someone like you, or Tom, or other really quick people. So, yeah.
One thing you said there actually does did give me an idea of what next to sort of spark a little conversation about, and the fact that you mentioned about David and trying to get you to do sim racing stuff. Is that somewhere you'll try and venture maybe in the future? Obviously, a lot of people from racing do sort of venture over there. I kind of did the opposite in the fact that I went from sim racing to row racing, and I still do sim racing on the side. But a lot of row racers do go into sim racing, Phantom, Triple. Da, da, da. We've had Dio, all go, and a lot of others. Just right now, I haven't got any names on the top of my head, but plenty of people have gone into sim racing
Also, David.
through Roblox. Do you think you'll go down that alleyway, or do you think if you?
Probably not, because I don't really have the equipment for sim racing. My PC's literally terrible. Imagine if I'm in the middle of something like an R Factor 2 race. Oh, blue screen. Great.
RF2 has
Also,
RF2 has enough bugs of its own that wouldn't even be a problem. You'd probably have a crash or something.
then I also just have a keyboard and a mouse, and that's it. I
I mean,
do play some Sims, do simulated stuff in Sims, like I just watched AI Race, like
to be fair, that
I
was
do
quite good
that in
fun.
R Factor and GTR2, etc. I do play racing games that are on Roblox, or they aren't really proper Sims. I'll just kind of list off random games in my Steam library. BeamNG, ETS2, F1 2012, etc. Ultimate Racing 2D, it's kind of that
I mean, for
stuff.
the longest of, I mean, I know plenty of people who have done sim racing on a keyboard and have been reasonably competent. I mean, Tom did like the first, I think it was the first season of the Racer 7 Championship or he put together in RRC. He did that on a keyboard. Tail raced on a keyboard in the Racer 7 League. A bunch of people have. Obviously, when you get to the more serious leagues, then yeah, you start needing proper hardware. But you'll find that there are leagues out there that suit people with not such good equipment or not such expensive equipment. I mean, you can get a wheel for about 80, 100 quid. You can probably look around at used stuff and get one for even cheaper. Um, but yeah, I see what you mean. It is certainly a lot more fun sim racing on a wheel. I wouldn't do it on a keyboard personally. I get absolutely no satisfaction. Yeah, that's fair enough. Um, I personally find did find row racing a lot more fun, but having done it for 3 years, burning out is a big factor. I don't do sim racing as much as I do row racing. I do a couple races here and there. Right. Any final comments before we end off?
No, not really.
Okie dokie. Well, that was a fun podcast. 35 minutes in the end. A little bit of a short one, but I guess having not so much to talk about when you've only had a fairly short period, especially in this side. Obviously, Ronalska, I guess it kind of melds into one almost. A lot of very similar communities. Um, but that will do. Thank you, those who have watched. I don't know who will watch this, but whoever has, I hope you enjoyed. And for this podcast, that will be it.